Hello and welcome to the Banker's Tech Talk video series, now in its 5th year of tracking fintechs. You can watch all previous episodes on thebanker.com/techtalks. I'm Joy Macknight, Managing Editor at The Banker, and my guest this week is Thomas Muth, Senior Fintech Specialist for UK and Europe at 5 Degrees, a cloud-based core banking platform. Thomas, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
What kind of benefits can banks, traditional banks, get from moving their systems to a cloud-based core banking platform?
So banks have outsourced their systems to IT companies when it comes to services, when it comes to hardware, already since quite some time. So this is not essentially something new they do. However, when we look at cloud-based systems, there is an additional advantage for banks now. They can participate on the leverage that the cloud brings by basically switching to a more pay-per-usage model, which basically allows them to better control their costs and to grow with the service they are providing. So on the one hand side, it's cost control, but on the other, it's also the infrastructure typical cloud services provide. So although as a private person, I would be very happy that my bank would be a perfect IT company taking care of my private data, of my account data. We see nowadays that banks' core focus is, of course, banking, and then that IT problems and challenges they have, they sometimes cannot cover in an optimal way. Now, when looking to the cloud and the services that are provided in the cloud, the infrastructure large cloud service providers offer, they can actually participate in that infrastructure in a cost-effective way, but also in a way which is, I would say, far beyond the competence a bank can offer when it comes to IT services. In addition, with cloud-based solution, there comes also an advantage of how flexible you are to deploy systems. So, although not necessarily bound to cloud solution, typically cloud solutions are much more flexible when it comes to updates to new versions of systems and how they're rolled out, simply because the whole environment within the cloud is maintained by typically one company.
Okay, but are banks really ready to move to cloud?
There are some things they have to take care of. First of all, they have legacy systems which are currently very cumbersome to maintain. So from a future-proofness perspective, they should be ready. So I think the mindset is already there on a management level. However, when it comes to digital transformation, not only cloud, but the whole story, as we see everywhere, it is also a question, it's also a HR question. It's also affecting the mindset of the employees. So typically when we look at banks, we have grown organizations with long established processes, and suddenly when it comes to digital transformation with a digital strategy, then suddenly things will change. Employees have to be trained to new systems, they have to get used to new workflows, maybe to new hierarchies. Sometimes banks leverage this by also introducing a totally new concept of organization. So sometimes you come across the Spotify organization. You can discuss if that in itself makes sense, but the goal of the bank when they do this is basically that the individual employee takes more ownership of what he or she is doing. And that is, in my opinion, a very good move. And this comes together when we talk typically about cloud-based solutions with new ways how to deploy things, with new ways how to do things, and to bring the bank into the digital age, so to say.
Okay, so there's a big cultural shift within the bank happening at the same time.
Right. Typically it's necessary. I mean, I haven't seen any bank that has a digital strategy or digital agenda and not also looking strongly at that point, because I think it's necessary.
Okay. My next question is really about how 5 Degrees differentiates itself from competitors, because there seems to be a number that have sprung up in this area over the last couple of years.
5 Degrees was founded actually by people that have banking in their DNA, so we can proudly say that we have a lot of bank competence in the company. We are still young enough to be fintech enthusiasts, so we are about 10 years old, but our platform, our software is already old enough and matured and running with enough companies so that we can really say that it is a reliable solution. It's running cloud native as a SaaS service. And with
software as a service.
Software as a service, right? Which means that we basically take on all the responsibility for running the system, and ideally also roll out the solution with configuration, but not customization.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your insights, Thomas.
My pleasure.